Welcome back to Arbitress YouTube channel. Today's class we'll learn how to make this beautiful petal sleeve. It's a very simple tutorial and we made this using organza fabric as well as this satin fabric. I'll be taking us through the method of making this in this tutorial. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so to make this sleeve design, you can work with any fabric of your choice. This is a satin fabric. You can also work with an organza fabric or any fabric of your choice basically. So I'm working with this fabric and then I'm going to fold it into two so that I can cut each of my petals. So now this fabric is folded into two and the measurement I'm using for this fold is 4 inches, okay, on fold. So by the time I open it out, it's going to be around 8 inches. It can be bigger than this, it can be smaller depending on what you want, but for me I'm folding 4 inches for each of my petals. Then after folding it, I'll also measure the length. So the length I'm working with is 6.5, so I'm going to mark 6.5 inches here. So I'm just using this bust arm to hold the fabric in place. So after taking those measurements, I'll come to the hem here and then I'm going to measure 2 inches out of the 4 inches that I have. So after measuring 2 inches like this, the next thing is for me to draw a shape. Okay, you can use your cuff or your freehand, but from here I'm just going to draw like a petal shape like this. I hope you can see what we have here. Okay, so after forming my petal like this, I'm going to come in with my scissors and then I'll cut this out. So this measurement that I have here is including the seam allowance, and I use 6.5 by 4 inches on fold. The 4 inches is on fold. So once you cut it out, this is what it looks like, and when you open it out, this is what you will have. Okay, so depending on the petal that you want to work with, I want to work with 6 petals. So I'll cut one for lining and one for main fabric, which means I'm going to need 12 of these. So if you're using with a fabric like damask that is very strong on its own, and you're not going to be adding a wire, because I'm adding this wire, this copper wire. This is 0.9 millimeter, but it's still soft, but this is what I have. So if you have a thicker wire like 1 millimeter or 1.5, it will be stronger for you to pass and it will give you that structure that you're looking for. I need this wire because I'm working with a very soft fabric and I want the tip of this petal to really stand out and be strong. You can also weave it with maybe a fishing line if you want, and if you are using a fabric like damask, like I said, you may not need lining. All you just need to do is to cut out your shape like this and then weave it around with a fishing line just to have something strong. Okay, you can just weave it because fishing line may make it coily, so you just weave it just so that it can stay strong on its own. So I'll go ahead now and cut 11 more so that I will have my 6 pairs to work with. So I'm just going to place it on it and then cut around it. Okay, so I've gone ahead to cut them now and I have 12 of these. That's 2 for each pair. That's going to give me 6 in whole. So the next thing is to place them right side facing right side. You can see the right side now, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew it to turn it. So I'll sew it once, but remember I said I'm going to be adding this copper wire in between it so that the tip can be stronger. So you can also add gum stay to this just to strengthen it more, but I'm not going to be adding gum stay for the purpose of this tutorial. So I will sew it first time and then I'm going to sew it again to create a casing for my wire. So now when you're creating your casing, you should sew something that will be wide enough to encase the wire that you're passing through it. So I'll take all of them now and then sew them twice and then bring it back to show us how we're going to place the wire and turn it out. Okay, so I've sewn it now. There are several ways you can add there are 2 ways you can add your channel to this. If you don't want to top stitch on it, you can see how I sew this. I sew it twice. I also the first one to turn it, and then the second one was the channel to create the casing for the for the wire. I hope you can see. So like I said, the wire I'm working with is just 2.9 millimeter and is not so strong, so you should work with a stronger wire to give you the structure you're looking for. If you also have a tiny boning, okay, you can also work with that as well. Boning that is not so wide, like 1/4 inch, just to give you structure, but you can just weave it if your fabric is strong enough. So now I'm just taping this. You know, it's a wire. By the time I'm passing it, it may be it will not go through straight, so I'm just taping it so that it can be smooth on this upper part. I'm taping into the masking tape there, and then I'm going to pass my boning through this casing that I have. So you pass it gently before you turn it, okay? So that is one way to add this to it. So I made my boning casing, I made my casing this way because I'm thinking of doubling this wire because it's very soft, like I said. So I'm not sure yet, so I'm passing it through it now, and then you keep passing it gently. So you can see now I'm passing it, and then you drag it, and then you pass it again, you drag it till you pass it all around. Okay, so you keep passing it till you get to the end. So once you get to the end, you drag it like you normally drag, like this, and then you cut it. So the other hand also, I want to tape it with your, you push it inwards so that you can have enough room to tape it. Then after taping it round, you put it outwards again, and then you spread it well. So now after passing it through it, that is when you are not going to turn it. So the issue with this type of method is that it may be a bit difficult for you to turn, especially if the boning, if the wire you're working with is very strong, okay? Because now that you have passed your wire, you will need to turn it out from the space that you have underneath here neatly. So I'll find this easy to turn because my wire is not so strong. But if you are working with a wire that is very strong, it may be a bit challenging to turn. So now once you turn it out like this, you arrange it well, and then bring out your wire. So now you can iron it so that it can be nice and flat. Okay, so this is one way to do this. Another way you can do this is by sewing it and then turning it out for neatness. After you've turned it out like this, then you now create your boning channel outwards. So the issue with this is that you're going to be having a seam line just like I have done here, but it is easier, especially if you're working with a stronger wire, because your fabric is already turned. You will not need to turn your fabric separately. So now you can see this. Now our wire is inserted inwards and you cannot see any seam line. So if you want something without a seam line outwards, this is the method for you. So now I'm going to be using the other method, which is the outward method. And then just like I did now, after turning my fabric, I just created my casing all around, and then I'm going to wrap my wire and then pass it through all of them. So now I'll go ahead and pass the wire through everything. Now I may not pass it through everything, I'll pass it just through because this is a tutorial. Then we'll continue with the sleeve. Okay, so I've inserted the wire. So to finish off the wire now, I'm just going to push this down a bit, fold it in, and then you can tape it before you bring it inside. Okay, so this way the sharpness of the wire is not going to hurt the skin. So you go over to the other side and we'll push it down a bit and reduce it if it's too long. Then you fold this in. You can use your tape to hold it before you push it inwards back. Okay, so you have something clean now and it's not going to hurt your hand. So now I have 5. I'm going to be using 5 petals as against this. Remember, I used the 6 ones to teach us the other method you can use to turn your petal. So I have 5 of this. Now the next thing is to pleat it. So like I said, there are several ways you can actually add structure to your petals, but I like this wire method because even if you want to do anything to the tip, like maybe bend it anyhow you want, decorate it anyhow you want, you can see the wire that you have there is just going to assist you in folding it anyhow Okay, so that's why I prefer to use this wire method. So now that I have 5 of them, the next thing is for me to place it. So I'm going to take one end of this now and then take it together with this, and then you tack it down. So the next thing is to take this also and then place it like this and tack it down. So you can place everything all at once and then you tack it, so you can see the way I'm arranging it. Then the next one, now you place it again and tack it. So it may be a lot, so you can tack it step by step. So I'll bring in my needle and thread now and then tack this down. Okay, so I have my needle and thread. I'm just going to place each tip on top of each other like this, and then I'm going to fold in the excess that I have here. You can see what I have now, and then I'm going to tack it down. So that is how you're going to tack all of them with your needle and thread. You make sure to tack it neatly. Okay, so I've tacked them all together now. Okay, so this, I still have my thread here. So now you can decide to form anything you want with the help of your wire. So I'm just going to fold it inwards like this and then like this, because this is the shape that I want to go for. So you can see me folding it. So in your case, you can make your petals smaller if this is too big for you, or you can just make it to be around 4. So now after folding it like this, I'm going to get a brooch or a trimming to cover up this rough edge, and then I'm going to place this design on my ready-made strap. Okay, so I've gone ahead to join them together, as you can see, and then I just used my trimming. So it's just a regular trimming that I wrapped to form a bow. So I just placed it in the middle there so that it can conceal the rough edges. So you can see the shape that we have with our doll face fabric. So now with our satin fabric, so now I have this strap that I cut out as my sleeve. So I'm just going to place this on it and then sew it. I still have my thread, my needle and thread there, so I'm going to use it to tack it before I sew this to the bodies. So the same way I did this, I went ahead to do it also on my organza fabric. So you can see I have 5 of it here. You can see the seam line. I use the contrasting color of thread so that we can see it well. So I have 5 of it. So the reason why I said I prefer to use a wire, if you're working with very soft fabric like organza, and maybe you did not get the shape well or something, after pleating it like this, with the wire you can decide to form any shape that you want. Okay, so you can bend it anyhow you want with your wire. If you want it flat, you can see the wire is going to help you to let it take any shape of your choice. So now I'm going to pack these 5 together as well, just like I did for the first one, and then I'm going to tack it. So now we'll see the difference in using these 2 types of fabric. So I'm just going to place it like this and then use my needle and thread to tack it as well. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I've gone ahead to join them together, and this is what it looks like on the doll face. So I'm going to show us what it looks like with the organza. Then let me know in the comment section the fabric you prefer. So this is what the organza looks like. You can see it's the same method and both are equally beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.